I think the first thing we learned is that when we had to terminate the chef, and now we had in the history of this restaurant industry at that time, 40 years ago, the front of the house and the back of the house seemed to have a DNA difference. They just didn't get along. And let's say for exactly what it was. It was cultural. The back of the house was Hispanic males predominantly, but principally, and then the front was Caucasian, right? And there was a clash that went on at that point, and Larry and I looked at that and we said, this is not going to work. Okay. And so we had such respect for both sides, right? So we developed before we understood the word culture. We didn't know culture. Later we can talk about where it evolved because it's an important part of our story. At that time we didn't know the word culture, but we knew we had to get along. So what we said was the California Pizza Kitchen is going to be color blind, religion blind, gender blind, education blind. We don't care who you are or what your background was. You, if you're committed to our success, then we are all going to get together as a team. That was our first lesson. It literally was. And then Larry, as you may recall from the book, was a very big, imposing guy. And Beverly Hills was a very tiny little restaurant. So we put him in as an expediter right between the front and the back of the house, right? And people had to squeeze around him, but he was there to literally make sure that pizza that we used to call auctioning off the food. The pizza, barbecue chicken pizza would come up and the server would grab it, whether it was theirs or not. We had to learn all these things. We were hands on.
Yeah, and I know that you're a keynote speaker and obviously a tremendous storyteller. You created this culture called R.O.C.K, R-O-C-K, and this was before you were doing this 20 years before anyone was focusing on culture. Dr. Larry Sen actually was the founder of corporate culture, and you were just a few years after he was when he created the concept. So you didn't know, but talk about how you did that. And like when you give your keynotes, share something that people could learn of how they could build a great corporate culture.
Well, that was a period when PepsiCo bought two-thirds of us. And they were pushing us, and now we had corporate people coming in, and they were saying, you guys need to come up with a mission statement. Like what we said. They said, well, like selling more pizzas than anybody in the world. We said, that's not our mission. Besides, you own Pizza Hut at that point. It's like, no,
Right.
we're not. It was never our mission.